Okay, we didn't learn for a while, but back to brachos. So we're middle of the dinim of what's called ikar and tafel, primary and secondary. We learned that whenever you have a mixture of primary and secondary, so then you make a bracha on the primary, you don't make a bracha on the secondary. Not only if they're mixed, but even if they're separate. For instance, you eat one thing, and the only reason why you're eating the second thing is because of the first thing. For instance, somebody wants to take a shot of whiskey, but it's too strong, so they want to take something that's called a chaser. So the din is, you're only eating the chaser because of the vodka. If you wouldn't have, or the whiskey, you wouldn't have the whiskey, you're not going to have the chaser. So then, you're only eating the chaser because of the whiskey, so you only make a bracha on the whiskey, not on the chaser. And in fact, according to halacha, even if it's bread, even if it's mamish bread, or mezainis, you still technically don't make a bracha on the thing. But, halacha says you should preferably drink the mashka, and then, once you eat the bread, because if you eat the bread first, some opinions say you should make a bracha on the bread first. And if it's a small piece of bread, you don't even have to wash on it, because you're not even making a bracha on it, because you're only eating it because of the vodka. So anytime there's two things you're eating, one is you're eating because you want to eat it, and the second one, and therefore you have all these things. For instance, like macaroni and cheese, yeah? So even though it's a mixture, so over there, because it's mezainis, we learned mezainis is always primary, unless if it's just to hold it together or for color. Or you have let's say you have a cracker with peanut butter and jelly on it, right? So even though peanut butter is shahakol and then the cracker is mezainis, but it's one food now. So now the primary is the cookie or the cracker. So you only make a bracha on the cracker, you don't make a bracha on the peanut butter. Now, not only that, if somebody was eating a cracker with peanut butter and they made a mezainis, then they took some peanut butter plain. So then you don't make a bracha on the peanut butter. It's already covered with the bracha you made on the cake. Now, if somebody took peanut butter first, and then they decided to eat it with a cracker, so then you made a shahak on the peanut butter, but then you only make obviously a mezainis on the cracker.
I mean, what do you do in schmaltz? Like if you're having schmaltz, you only want to have, you take, let's say, a piece of challah to make it, but it's not about the challah, it's about the schmaltz.
Again, if you're eating the piece of cracker, challah, or whatever, because you're eating the herring, and without it you wouldn't eat it,
right.
So you don't make a bracha on that.
So what bracha do you make?
You make on the schmaltz herring, shahak. That's what we said. You make a bracha on the herring, because again, without the herring, you wouldn't be eating the cracker or the mezainis or the bread or whatever it may be. So then anytime. Now what happens though, if you have a mixture of, like we discussed this, you're making a salad. In the salad you have adama and you have eitz. People put pomegranate seeds in it, they put orange peas, whatever, nuts in it. So you have the salads adama, and by you they're all equal. You know, that's one prime. No, croutons are a little bit different. And I'll tell you why in a second. So then, what bracha do you make on the salad? So then, the Alter Rebbe holds, you go by the majority. If the majority is adama, you make adama. If the majority is eitz, you make eitz. Croutons are different, because croutons, again, are mezainis. Or hamaitzi, maybe. So if they're mezainis, then that becomes primary anyway.
But you wouldn't eat the croutons.
It doesn't matter, but mezainis becomes the primary. It's also there for taste. You would eat the croutons without the salad. Right. By whiskey and the bread, you want only the whiskey, but you can't handle the whiskey. So here you want the whole salad. So then you make a bracha on the majority, and you make a not on the minority. What?
What's the difference between crouton and olives? Whole olives.
Because croutons are mezainis. Mezainis is always primary.
So you say that.
Yes.
Yes. So first you say that pick up a piece of each crouton.
No, the whole salad together becomes mezainis.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. What? What's it? What? Yeah. What?
What is it? You're having lots of whiskey mashke, and you end up having more than a kazait of the bread that you're just like nibbling on every time.
You still don't make a bracha on it. No.
Can you make a bracha when you're drunk?
Well, if you're drunk like light, that's in halacha, it's called shikrut light. Light was so drunk, right, with the daughter, he didn't know what was going on. So that person is freed from all mitzvahs, because he is not in his right state of mind. But a guy could be drunk, but they still know, they're a little loose, but they can still know what they're eating, what they're doing. So then you have an obligation to daven, you have an obligation to make brachos. What? That's what the Pearl they say. Then l'cha'era you'd have to make a mezainis on it. Do people do it or not? Again, the accepted minig is that they make shahakol. Because the whole thing doesn't make sense. It's the mezainis is not the breadcrumbs is not to keep the egg and it's whatever. But that's what it says. I'll give you another example. What happens if you're eating cereal and milk? Yeah? And let's say the cereal is adama, but you have milk. Milk is shahakol. Now eating cereal and milk. So the primary thing is you're not eating milk with cereal. You're eating cereal and milk. So the primary thing you're eating is cereal. So therefore you make a bracha on the cereal, whether the cereal is adama, mezainis, whatever it may be, and you don't make a bracha on the milk, right? Because it's primary. Even let's say you finish the cereal and there's a little bit of milk left in the bowl, and now you're eating milk plain, it's still covered by the original bracha of hadama that you made. Because you made that's secondary thing, tafel, becomes bottled to the primary, and therefore whatever the bracha is on the primary, that becomes the bracha for the secondary. What? The adam is soaked with milk? No. But again, you're eating it because of the cereal. You're not taking a cup of milk. Nobody eats milk from a bowl. You know what I mean? You're eating the milk because you're eating the cereal. When they want to have milk in the cereal.
What I'm trying to say is that the weight of the piece of there's more milk, weight-wise, there's more milk in that piece of.
I understand. If you have something soaked in milk, then the milk is not primary. It's the thing that you're soaking the milk in. The milk is there to give taste to the primary thing. So again, you only make a bracha on the primary thing.
When on the table there are a few adama, a few shackle. A person that eats it, the first adama, gives a adama and eat it. Go on a second, also say the bracha adama again.
No.
Is that correct? Or when you say adama is covered?
Okay, 1 second. So that's really later on. But when you ask the question, so we'll answer it. If when you made Adam, let's say you're sitting by a table and there's 5 different Adamas and Aitzes and Shahakos on the table, whatever. So if when you make Adama, you had in mind, I'm going to eat those other things too, then you don't make a new bracha on the other things. But if let's say there's one Adama and Aitzes, no difference. Adama, and I said, no, I don't want the cucumber, I only want the tomato. And when you make a bracha, you only have in mind that you're eating the tomato. Now you change your mind and you take a piece of cucumber, so then you have to make a new bracha. So the best thing halacha says, if you're sitting by such a table and you make adama, you should have in mind whatever, because it's in front of you, whatever you're going to be eating. I'll give you another, even a bigger example. You take an apple out of the refrigerator and you eat it. You make a eitz and you eat it. Then you say, you know what? I want a second apple. Second apple was not in front of you, it was in the fridge. And when you made the first ta'ach, you didn't have in mind that you're eating the second apple. So when you take out the second apple, you have to have in mind that, you have to make a new bracha.
Would you have to make the bracha now before that?
What? No, you don't have to make a bracha acharei because the one you make afterwards is going to cover everything. But the first bracha is, you're making a bracha on what I'm eating now, what I have in mind to eat. So if it's not in front of you, or you don't have in mind, so then you'd have to make a new bracha. So the best thing, it says in halacha, is when you have such things, you have to have in mind that whatever is adam I'm going to be eating is covered with adam. Shako. What? Cholent? No. Cholent. So cholent is like this. And I don't want to give out the recipe, by the way. It's a secret, patented recipe in the shul cholent.
Your wife.
You better believe it. I once made the cholent for the shul. My wife was in New York. I'm going back 40 years ago. My wife told me step by step what to do. Mamish, I was on the phone, step by step what to do.
I remember.
Remember that?
Of course.
Yeah, and the next day, not one person, even me, wasn't able to eat it. It was completely inedible. Yeah, so that's fine. But I do know the ingredients at least. So now, the cholent you have like this. You have barley, you have potatoes, you have beans, and you have meat. Okay, so let's take the shul cholent. Okay, that's basically most of the ingredients.
You gave away the recipe and it's on video.
No, but how much? The percentage? Come on. The cholent is like Coke, they don't give out the ingredients. So now, so you have like this. The barley is not mezainis, it's adama, because it's not cooked, it's not stuck together. The bottom line is it's adama. The potatoes are adama. The beans are adama. And the meat is shahak. So again, the majority of food is hadama in the cholent. Bottom line is the majority of the food, unless you have a ton of meat. But usually in cholent you don't have all that meat, right? So you have the majority is hadama. So you make hadama on the cholent. 1 second. But what happens, and this applies especially for Shabbos, what happens if I like the meat better? So then, before I make hadama on the cholent, I can take out a piece of meat and make a shahakol. Because by me that's more important, even though the majority basically is the primary. But what happens if I didn't do that and I made a hadama on the cholent? I cannot take out a piece of meat or pastrami or whatever and make a shahakol. There would be a brachot in vain because the hadama I made on the cholent covers everything in the cholent.
What about the barley? Let's say if you have a lot of barley.
The barley, the way it's made in the cholent is adama, not mezainis. The only time grains are mezainis, okay, number one, if it's made into a flour. We hear it's not. You have beans, loose beans. Or if it's stuck together, not through heat, it's mamish stuck together, then it has a din, most of the time has a din of flour. But little pieces of barley that's all over the cholent, there's no sticking together a bunch of barley together that it would be mezainis. And it's not made into flour, so therefore the barley would be adama.
What about like a batter, like traditional fish and chips? The fish is not breaded like schnitzel, it's a batter, a mixture of flour and...
So again, if it's there for taste, it would be mezainis. If it's there to hold it together, it would be shahakol. A lot depends on the facts, like why, what.
So if the barley in the cholent is pureed, so then it would be like a mush.
No, it's not. It's not a mush in a barley that you put into a cholent. You ever look at the cholent?
Usual cholent is hadama, yeah. But
I'm saying if somebody would put 4 bags of barley in this amount cholent, yeah, you'd make a mezainis.
And sushi?
Sushi is a big shiloh of bracha you make. So, not according to the Alter Rebbe, that you make a mezainis on rice. Right? The Mishnah Berurah, most of the people hold on rice, you make a mezainis. So then, sushi would be a mezainis. The rice is mezainis, and the fish is secondary to mezainis. But according to Alter Rebbe, that you make a shahakol on rice. I mean, if you don't eat it in the middle of a meal, like you're supposed to, but let's say your bottom line, you're eating a piece of some rice, you make a shahakol. So then, now you have the question, what is the primary and what is the secondary? So you have the rice, which is shahakol, and the fish is shahakol. So then, according to the way we hold, it would be shahakol. But what happens if you have avocado in it and other pieces? So then, according to what we said, what is the majority? The majority is not the avocado, by the way. The majority will be the rice and any other ingredient that's in there besides the fruits and vegetables. So then it would be shahakol.
What Are we supposed to say amen if somebody says the wrong bracha?
No. If somebody says a bracha in vain, you're not allowed to say amen on the
When
bracha.
the guy says, oh, I don't know what it is, shakol, is that, shakol.
No, then because halacha says if you don't know, you make a shakol. So he's doing right.
Say amen.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
knew it's adama, I don't know.
No, but if Alpi Din, if he said shahakol, it's good. If you make shakol on anything, it's good. So in that case, it would be yaitz the bracha. So you could answer amen. If somebody's eating something not kosher and he makes a bracha on it, I got calls, not one, a bunch of calls from people sitting in a treifa restaurant. They're eating non-kosher food, but they want to make a bracha. And they're asking me, what can they make a bracha? And the answer is, you're not allowed to. If you ate it accidentally, the question is about an after bracha. Can you make an after bracha? But you can't sit in a treifa restaurant. And so if somebody makes a bracha, then you're not allowed to answer on me. Even though, Moshe, is interesting, we'll finish with this. What happens if kids are learning brachas? Now, kids are not obligated to mitzvah, but kids say a bracha. They're eating right in your house, little kids. They make a bracha. You teach them how to make a bracha on food. So then the things you do answer amen. You do answer amen on kids' bracha. Number one, because you're educating them that you say amen on a bracha. So it's part of the education of them even making the bracha. And they're also, in theory, they should be making a bracha, but it's not a bracha in vain because they should be doing it.
It's okay to say amen on a bracha.
No.